welcome to the closing session of Officer Jumpstart 2021. Today has been a jam-packed day. We've networked, we've learned, we've collaborated, we've shared, we've grown, and the list goes on. If you weren't excited for your role as a local officer before the start of today, I know you are now. Together, we've seen the potential that Georgia Horse's local leaders have to completely shatter expectations. The goals and ambitions that you set out in your workshops today are not only yours to reach, but to exceed. We hope that today you acquired both the knowledge and the skill set to do just that. Whether it was finding your voice as an advocate, learning how to thrive in a role that demands teamwork, learning how to expand the role of your chapter in your community, or viewing the chapter activities that you conduct from the lens of the hospital's functions, you learned a lot today, maybe even without realizing it. Now it's time to put those knowledge, skills, and resources to work and do what you were elected to do. Aid your HOSA members in becoming more prepared future health professionals. More than just sheer knowledge, today you gained something that's arguably even more valuable: relationships. Look around at the folks seated next to you, your officer team, the officers that you've bonded with throughout the day, your advisors. Each of these groups are united by the shared goal of seeing their HOSA chapters succeed. So I encourage you to foster those connections outside of today and take every opportunity you can get to collaborate on events and service initiatives, as Georgia HOSA is stronger when we work together. With this sentiment in mind, the next 20 minutes of Officer Jumpstart 2021's closing session will be dedicated to a program of work group session in which you and your officer team will be developing a program of work to guide your year. Two program of work examples can be found using the QR codes on the screen behind me. However, I encourage you to break the mold and to create a unique living document that guides your chapter's unique and specific priorities. Now's your time to create a framework for the year ahead. Best of luck.
Am I standing for your camera?
It's okay.
Questions on your program report, making this year the best we've ever seen. Remember that your state officers are here to serve and represent you. With that in mind, Team 21 will now take the floor for a brief 15-minute Q&A session to address your HOSA-related comments, questions, and concerns. You can now take out your phones and DM @HOSA on Instagram to submit your questions. And if you have any questions, you can also ask them directly, but if you're farther away, then you can DM them.
I have a question. How do we become a state officer?
That's a great question. How do we become a state officer?
So if any of you are interested in becoming a state officer, I want you all to know that the experience in and of itself is 100% worthwhile. If you're even thinking of filling out the application, maybe even taking a glance at it, we all 100% encourage you. The application itself will be available on the Georgia HOSA website in October after the Fall Leadership Rally, which will be in October 15th. If you already know that you're interested in this opportunity today, we do have state officer interest cards that we want you all to fill out and give back to us so that when the application is ready, you all will be the first to know. We're sending out emails And like always, we will always encourage you to take these opportunities and make the absolute most of them.
We have another question, and it's what's the difference between a representative and an officer? So we do have two positions within the state executive council.
So I'll let Sahil refer to his role as a region representative in a sec, but I do want to say that this year, obviously, we have 3 region representatives, as you can see in the light blue. However, in the future, we ideally want 1 region representative to represent each of the regions in Georgia West, so that would be 7 region representatives. So make sure that you apply if you're interested in representing schools more on a regional level, doing chapter visits, traveling around the state of Georgia, and representing your region at conferences, as well as working really closely one-on-one with the schools and chapters in your region. Definitely apply for a region representative position, and that's really the major distinction between state executive council and region representatives. But both of those groups fall under the umbrella of state officers, and you do represent Georgia at level.
Yeah, so I believe region rep covered the majority of it, but being a region rep is more about communicating directly with the members as opposed to being on the SEC. The region rep's job, like Rima mentioned, is to specifically represent their region and the schools within their region. So the region reps will kind of be the ones, the liaisons between the SEC and the chapters themselves, and they'll be the ones doing the majority of the chapter visits, communicating directly with members, and they'll be the ones that the members typically want to approach when they're asking questions. So being a region representative is all about having interpersonal skills and being able to talk to members directly. So if that's something that you're looking forward to, then I strongly urge you to apply to the region representative position. It's an amazing experience, and you get to really enjoy the chapter.
Okay, we have another question. It is, what is a way to convince other chapter officers to support a cause? So I can kind of touch on this one. If anybody else wants to elaborate on it, that's okay. But if you did come to our workshop today about advocacy, then you know a big part of advocacy is about representing your members and about making sure that you take it up and you pitch it to the other officers to make sure that it's followed through. So a big part of that, if it comes from your members, then that's great because you can pitch it and really sell it to the rest of the officers and make sure that it's followed through at your officer level. And if it's not, then you can introduce it to the rest of your officer team. And that way you can put it into your chapter. So anybody else have another perspective on it or thoughts?
So we also talked about this in the community service workshop today. When you want your members to support a cause, you want them to really be attracted to the issue at hand. This could be through getting them excited, really just hype up the event that's happening. Let them understand that this is a big deal, and with them there, the more members that are there, the more fun that they'll have themselves, and the better the turnout will be. Really just get them excited. There could be different incentives as well. I know some people were talking about getting their teachers to dress up in elk costumes and have a wrestling match, kind of just doing fun things that allow you to support a cause. Really just having your members understand the full scope of what's happening and how they'll have fun and also have good effects in the end are really important.
Okay, we'll do one last question to wrap up. This will be like a more fun question for the officers. What's like one fun thing you've done this summer aside from HOSA? Anybody want to answer? Say it. Okay. Sorry, we don't make this inside joke because it's very like annoying when I mention it. But I went to GHD for a month, and now that's So I guess I went for French and I got to be immersed in language, which was fun. But I did miss HOSA a lot, so it's glad to be back. And I think that about concludes our Q&A session. So thank you for y'all's questions.
Thank you, Paul, for your wonderful questions in State Officer Q&A. We truly enjoyed answering them. Now that the day is over, take some time to reflect on the workshops today and some of the lessons that you took away, and think about how you can apply them specifically to your chapter. Look at the program of work or the goals that you've outlined and use it to guide your chapter to become the best chapter that it can possibly be. Most importantly, we hope you have leave here today having learned something new or having talked to someone that you've never talked to before. Remember, your journey as an officer does not stop here. Your goal is to transform HOSA and your HOSA chapter to new heights. And our state officer team hopes we will be able to accomplish just that. However, for those of you looking to take a bigger role in HOSA, there are even more opportunities available for you to be more involved.
Each year, Georgia HOSA selects a group of individuals who are tasked with the responsibility of leading this organization and all of its members. As a student-led organization, Georgia HOSA thrives on members like you all, who envision a goal and see that it is achieved. It is with this kind of tenacity that Georgia HOSA has been able to prepare the future generations of healthcare for the past 21 years, with the intent of going above and beyond the expected in the next 21 years. If you have ever found yourself being completely swept away by the energy at the opening session during the annual State Leadership Conference, then the State Officer Program is your chance to experience what it is like to be on the other side of Georgia HOSA's exhilarating conferences that never fail to awaken the leader within you. The purpose of the State Officer Program is to give highly dedicated and motivated individuals the opportunity to expand their knowledge of Georgia HOSA as an organization, serve members at the regional and state levels, develop leadership skills, and so much more. With this in mind, we hope to have inspired you to apply for a position on Team 22. The application process itself will start off with an online application, which can be found on the Georgia HOSA website following the Fall Leadership Rally. If you are interested in applying to become either a region representative or a member of the State Executive Council, then make sure to pick up a State Officer Interest Card, fill it out, and return it to one of the state officers here today. We hope to see you all take the initiative to apply for a position.
We want all of you to apply for a state officer position, but it's first important to remember all the important conferences and activities Georgia HOSA has this upcoming school year. First, we have Washington Leadership Academy from September 25th to the 28th. This is your chance to meet members of Congress, the International Executive Council, and members like you from across the country. You will be at Capitol Hill advocating for CTSOs. The registration deadline is in August, so be on the lookout. It's coming up fast. Next is Fall Leadership Rally on Friday, October 15th. This is an exciting one-day event that features a motivational speaker, competitive events with awards, and unlimited fun rides for all of you to enjoy. This is an excellent opportunity for you to bond with your officer team and your members. The registration deadline is September 15th. Lastly, we have Fall Leadership Conference on November 9th to 10th. This is your first opportunity to showcase your HOSA pride, and we are expecting a lot of it. At FLC, you will be meeting and networking with members like you from across the state, competing in events and attending educational workshops. The registration deadline is October 8th, and that wraps up all the events for 2021.
Starting off our events for the year 2022, we had the state qualifications testing from January 12th to January 19th. Some events at the State Leadership Conference actually require preliminary testing in order to qualify for the final rounds of the testing at the actual conference. To check if your competitive event requires this testing, visit the competition guidelines at HOSA.org. The registration deadline for the state qualifications testing is December 17th. Next, we have the State Leadership Conference from March 10th to March 12th. This is the event that we're all waiting for. The biggest, most hyped, and most fun statewide event of the year. Through this conference, there will be inspirational speakers, a chance to qualify for the International Leadership Conference and competitive events, contests, a dance, which, trust me, you don't want to miss, and a chance to be one of the largest culminations of people across the state that you'll ever see. The registration deadline for the State Leadership Conference is February 4th. Finally, we have the International Leadership Conference from June 22nd to June 25th. This is your chance to meet members from all across the world who are committed to healthcare. Whether you qualify for the conference through a competitive event or not, you are still able to go and participate in all the amazing opportunities the conference has to offer. This year, the International Leadership Conference will be held in Nashville, Tennessee. With all these dates for the coming term, we are promised a very eventful and very exciting year. As always, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all, and our Georgia HOSA Slack is available for you all to ask other members across the state about different events, if they're planning to go, what they're planning to do, and how things work.
Now that you've seen the incredible opportunities you have to shatter expectations alongside Francisco, we hope you're excited to serve your chapter members to the fullest potential this year. At the beginning of today, I propose a question to you all. Every time you are tempted to act in the same old way, ask yourself whether you would like to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future. Every step of the way this year, you will have the opportunity to do something yourself or your HOSA chapter has never done before. HOSA is a student-led organization, so our innovation starts with all of you. With that in mind, my challenge to you officers is to make this the year that you prioritize innovation, growth, and pushing the envelope beyond the comfort of simply doing things the way they've been done in the past, because it's always been done that way. It's the hope of myself and the rest of the state officer team that all of you have enjoyed the time you spent here with us today. I, for one, have been overjoyed seeing everyone's faces in person and have learned so much interacting with all of you. Remember, there are plenty of ways to stay in touch with your state officer team, even after we part ways today. Using the HOSA Slack, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Cardlink, and even requesting a chapter visit from a state officer, to name a few. Congratulations to everyone here for attending, participating, and gaining a jumpstart on your leadership journey. Thank you all, and Officer Jumpstart 2021 is now adjourned.